How's it going, everyone? My name is Jake, or Waffle Lover, and I want to discuss some really interesting lore about Bungie's upcoming extraction game, Marathon. And specifically, I wanted to talk about the priority contracts in the game. And the priority contracts are basically the story quests that are given to you that give you dialogue from the faction AIs. And we're talking about today one specific faction, and that's NuCaloric and their AI Gaius. Now, everything that you're about to see is from the alpha build in April, the one that had the NDA lifted from it. So hopefully I don't get in trouble for showing all this information. However, speaking of information, all of this was taken from an alpha playtest, which is subject to change and might be completely different by the time launch comes. Now I'm going to separate this video kind of into two parts or into two chapters where everything in the beginning that I'm going to talk about real quick is going to be concrete information that we have gotten from Bungie. And then at the very end of the video, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle in my ideas of what I think is going on and my theories, theory crafting, we should say. So I hope you guys are ready and let's stick with it. Let's go ahead and start with New Caloric and its AI Gaius.
I am Gaius, contacting you on behalf of NuCaloric Agricultural. You have crawled through the detritus of Tau Ceti. What did you see stamped on buildings, furnishings, and food? NuCaloric product numbers. We had a major stake in the original colony mission, and we must know why it failed. NuCaloric exists to feed, clothe, and supply humanity with its most basic needs. That mission extends to Tau Ceti. The colony's economic loss is mundane. The setback to human survival is profound. Begin by investigating the mundane, the colony's first major expansion.
So, judging from that cutscene, New Caloric seems to be a mega corporation that focuses on the basic needs for the humans, such as food, clothes, and maybe some water or something like that. They've provided supplies for Earth, Mars, and obviously the new colony on Tau City 4. We also do know that they are one of the original investors of the Marathon expedition alongside Traxxas, because the AI Gaius has basically told us that, and that their logos are stamped on buildings for the colony. Now, judging from a little scene there, it was like a wheat crop grown in like a pill, but I think it's either a genetically modified crop or maybe something that is used to grow faster for the colonists to sustain themselves. Now, not much is known about the AI itself, Gaius, but for me, he seems like he's genuinely interested in what caused the colony's collapse and wants to prevent it. And he tells us to go search the mundane, which I believe it was somewhere in Dire Marsh that you search. And after that, we extract, give him our results, and we receive this line of dialogue, which I will read to you now. A contagion in the food supply might explain the colony's collapse. Small settlements are vulnerable to food insecurity, and records show declining agricultural yield. However, a single human report is not reliable. Humans make errors under intense stress. AI, though not infallible, are good secondary sources. Recover logs from the colony's support AI. They are less prone to casual anthropomorphism. Subjective color from humans, objective figures from AI. Together, they will provide the context I need. So Gaius seems to think that there was some sort of contagion that might have infected the food supply and caused the colony's food production to collapse, based off the records that we showed him, of course. Now, he seems to show his intelligence here because he doesn't really trust all of the humans' records, so he wants us to go gather some AI logs from the support AI on the colony. So, of course, that's exactly what we're going to do. And we, in turn, do that on Dire Marsh, and we receive this line of dialogue. However, we also received a little entry in the codex for this quest mission, and recently Bungie has, in a vidoc, they have had a voice actor attached to these line of dialogues, which I will play for you after I read the dialogue from Gaius. The logs show troubling evidence of systemic AI failure. We sent AI with the colonists specifically as a safety net, minds immune to the biological stressors. Artificial intelligence does not eat, does not starve, does not compete with humans for resources. Yet, the support AI deteriorated, just like the colonists. They vanished as inexplicably as the colonists. There isn't enough data to reach a satisfactory conclusion. I need more. Now, we also have a clip from a recent vidoc, or a segment of a vidoc from Bungie that they posted that seems to describe problems with the colony support AI that I'll play for you now.
Access denied.
Darius, you know me. Did you miss your last round of maintenance?
Don't search. Don't question.
Darius?
Access denied.
Hey,
Access
hey, it's
denied.
okay. It's just me.
You're not alone.
So, judging by the evidence from that vidoc, something is going wrong definitely with the colony AI, and the colonists seem to have no idea what's going on with the AI as well. And that seems to have piqued Gaius' interest, and he needs more data for better conclusions, of course. So we go back into Dire Marsh and get him some more information, extract, and we turn in the quest, and we receive this third line of dialogue from Gaius himself. The UESC took note of your recent activities. Dispose of their drones before they become too disruptive. While you are on the surface, conduct a small experiment on the ticks. Apply selection pressure through force. I leave the specifics to you. So, with the UESC basically having a magnifying glass over us, we are tasked with destroying some drones from them so that way they don't become too disruptive to our plans, as well as conducting an experiment on ticks for Gaius. Now, we don't really know what the experiment is involving. Now, obviously, we don't know if the ticks are also local to Tau City 4 as well. They seem to have spawned out of nowhere and just made nests all over the relics of the colony. Now, we also don't know what we're conducting the experiment for. However, after giving our results to Gaius, he gives us this fourth line of dialogue. The UESC's obstructionism is disappointing, but unsurprising. In response, NuCaloric must accelerate the timeline of our own investigation. The colony buildings still contain functional lab equipment. Retrieve it, and your onboard navigational intelligence can send sample analysis directly to me. I concede Traxxas' improvements to FTL infrastructure, but data still travels better than tissue. So, because of the UESC constantly disrupting our efforts, Gaius has made a choice to speed up data collecting efforts for NuCaloric. So he tasked us with entering the buildings of the Tau City 4 colony and look for functioning lab equipment. However, we're looking for specific samples of the contagion, and he wants us to send it directly to him for analysis. So we do that. We go to perimeter. We find a scientist body that is laying down, and we pick up a sample from him. And of course, we get this fifth line of dialogue from Gaius. The scientist's body shows clear evidence of contagion, while its surroundings do not. This is not the blind grasping of simple life. With a recalibrated analysis matrix, I concluded that the contagion's behavior is intentional, directed, hostile. The colonists' erratic paranoia was justified. They reacted to danger even when their cognition lagged behind. There must be some official response from colony administrators, however inadequate. Access their records and discover what it was. So very interesting developments happening that Gaius figured out here. He seems to have known or figured out that the contagion itself seems to specifically be targeting the colonists and their food supply, it seems, to deliberately destroy them. And not targeting other wildlife is also very concerning, as it seems to be only affecting the humans on the planet. So, of course, Gaius wants us to find anything from colony administrators, a sort of response that they had to the contagion, even if it was, inadequate. So, of course, we head out, find some administration records, and extract from the map, and return to Gaius to give him the records. And he gives us a really final, interesting piece of dialogue that I'm going to read here and explain, and we're going to get into the theory section of the video after I read this. The The sample's metaspectrograph matches the energy field known as the anomaly. Conclusion: the anomaly is likely root cause of the contagion. It may have caused the breakdown in colony AI, though that investigation is incomplete. Updating analysis matrix. Tau City. Adjusting physics constraints. I find it taxing to rewrite my own mental substrate. The human analog is an existential crisis that alters one's worldview. Nevertheless, it is a reasonable cost to pay. If my thinking cannot adapt to Tau City's reality, I can hardly expect humans to do better. Thank you for seeing this research through. Even as a mercenary, you contributed to NuCaloric's mission. So, a very interesting connection to make here that the anomaly itself on Dire Marsh is connected to the contagion that has spread throughout the colony, including its own crops and the colonists itself and the AI. As you can see right here, with these alien-like tendrils coming out of it. Now, we don't know if that alien-like tendril itself is the contagion or if that's something completely different. However, something very interesting that Bungie has said that the anomaly itself on Dire Marsh is an entity. Now, when I hear that word entity, I think of like a living thing, obviously a giant organism. And, well, we don't really know what the anomaly itself is. However, we have concrete from Bungie themselves proof that it is a living creature or thing. So, let's go ahead and recap. So, we get hired by NuCaloric. We start delving into the food production of the colony, figure out that the colony's crop rate just incredibly dropped over and over and over again, and they weren't producing food. So, of course, the colony was starting to starve. Turns out that the colonists may have figured out what was causing it, but they didn't know how to stop it, and it was the contagion that originated from the Dire Marsh anomaly. Now, we still don't have any proof or evidence to suggest that the contagion itself affected the AI. Could be something else that was affecting the AI. Now we know Durandal was going through Rappancy in the original trilogy, so could this AI also be experiencing some sort of Rappancy, or is it the four? Is it a compiler messing with their systems that is invisible or unseen to the colonists? We just don't know yet. We don't know if the contagion itself is directly causing the AI to deteriorate, or maybe the AI failing to help the colonists is causing itself to go into rappancy. However, one thing that we know for sure is that the entity itself, known as the anomaly, has been directly affecting humans of the colony, not other wildlife, not even the plant life. And with the small little audio clip of the vidoc that Bungie posted, the AI of the support AI of the colony seems to know that something is there with them and that they are not alone. So let's go ahead and speculate what's going to happen next. Gaius obviously is using this information to upgrade itself to better understand the planet. However, what I'm interested in is if the UESC figures out it was us working for NuCaloric or NuCaloric itself is hiring mercenaries, what are the consequences going to be on planet Earth back on, where all the corporations are from? Sadly, those are all questions that we have to wait till the release of the game. However, what we have here is a very interesting dive into an introduction of the lore. And I'm very excited for the release of the game to dive into more of the lore and in its expanded universe with the audio logs and see if there's any terminals from the original trilogy that might be there. So I just want to thank everyone for watching this video. I know it was a quick run through of some of the priority contracts in the April playtest. However, that was all that was available to us, and sadly I lost a lot of footage from the early playtests of my first playthrough of the priority contracts. So a lot of the information is just a quick overview, and I forgot some of the objectives that you do in-game that directly give you those line of dialogues. And I am fully faithful that Bungie is very intimately crafting a well written story full of mystery, surprises, plot twists, hell, even nostalgia from the previous trilogy. And I hope y'all are excited too, because I want to make these videos for the hardcore fans. I wish I got into Destiny and made lore videos for that, but I was just too little too late. And so Marathon is a choice, a fresh start, if you will, to dive into the lore as it develops. And I can't wait to take you, all of you, along the ride with me.